Hello, this is some guy in Hawaii, and this is a relatively quick look at the Maggie, the legendary Jacob's pistol that has been a standout in Borderlands 2 and 3. It was also in the pre-sequel, although I don't recall how it performed there. There are some people who think it has suffered at Mayhem 10 under Mayhem 2.0, but there are also those who disagree, and in any case, that may be a moot point if you view this video on or after June 4th, 2020. If things change drastically, I will do a revision. I will say that I personally still find really good uses for the Maggie at Mayhem 10 as of late May, and I expect those prospects to only improve with the Phase 1 rebalancing. So to get right to it, the best ways to acquire a Maggie are either as a world drop or from tremendous wrecks on the last round of the Cistern of Slaughter. Now farming the latter can be a pain, although I understand that there are at least were ways to not have to repeat all 5 rounds. I'm not going to go into that. I'll let you figure that one out. Maggies are mashers that fire 6 projectiles per shot for the price of 1 in a spread, doing significant damage at very high rate of fire. Because of the pellet spread, it's best used at fairly close range. You can see the size of the aiming circle here is fairly large. It gets larger with continuous fire. Aiming down sights, however, tightens up the pattern, and although the recoil still limits precision, it's not as bad as you might think. It has a mag size of 9, which is pretty good for a revolver, and a reload speed under 2 seconds. Despite the pellet spread, Maggies have manageable handling characteristics. Okay? All these things have made it a standout pistol, probably the best Jacobs pistol in the game, at least at shorter ranges. Now we are looking at 3 different Maggies here, the same 3 that are on the title screen. These are the only 3 Maggies we will be looking at because at any given level, this is all of them. Remember the clairvoyance video I did? Over 23,000 different variants? Maggies sit at the other end of the spectrum. There are only 3 variants of Maggies at any given level in the game. Every Maggie, parts-wise and even prefix-wise, they're always dastardly, is exactly the same as every other except for the hammer. And there are 3 of those, hence 3 variants. Everybody focuses on the damage, but the high and low damage variants are only separated by 5%, given the 1 part modifier, which also reduces recoil height. This one decreases reload time slightly and increases accuracy a bit. This one decreases crit damage by a small but perhaps significant amount and reduces weapon sway. Do these differences matter? Well, short answer, if you ask me, is no. Let me show you the long answer. Here's our base damage per projectile and hitting with all 6 pellets, which is really hard not to do. 5% difference, as I mentioned. Okay, looking at DPS, damage per second, that 5% holds. But notice there's only about a 1% difference between the highest DPS Maggie and the middle performing one. Okay, let's look at critting. Crit damage wise, the lowest base damage variant also now does the highest damage when critting because it's got, a crit bonus. Overall, about 10% higher than the very lowest performer, but only 5% more than the one with the highest base damage. This is the one spot where maybe differences are important. It's not the way we assume, though. It's still kind of a small difference. Crit DPS. This is spamming crits as fast as possible, something which is not really possible to do in the game most of the time, but let's take a look at it anyway. Maximum 6% difference between high and low. Lastly, let's look at Flak's Megavore. Let's assume Flak is spamming body shots and critting on average about 20% of the time. High and low performance differences, again, are negligible, less than 1.4%. Now, what does all this mean? It means even looking at minor differences in accuracy, handling, and reload speed, much less damage and crit damage, one Maggie is really as good as another. Okay, if we have to obsess about getting the highest damage weapon out there, don't do it with a Maggie. Take the one with the best anoint you can find and run with it. If it's still not doing work, it's probably not the Maggie. Maybe it's the build, maybe we're trying to use it in the wrong situation. Whatever the issue is, getting one with 5% more base damage will not address that problem. Okay, and that's it. I was working on some other videos I wanted to get out before the rebalancing, but research and testing on those keeps revealing new and kind of interesting interactions. Okay, in the meantime, I will probably put out more shorter weapon profiles like this one. I will also revise this again quickly if stats change after the rebalancing, although I don't expect them to. As always, drop me a comment or a like if you want. Stay safe, and thanks for watching.